Warning, this video may contain graphic or potentially sensitive content, which is being shown only for the sole purposes of journalism and accurate reporting. The creator of this channel does not endorse violence or what you will hear in this video in any form. Viewer discretion is advised.
Alliance shoot to kill Gaza. The poor, the farmer, the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa. Attention.
Well, folks, I'm probably going to get in trouble for doing this video, but frankly, I don't care. I don't care if it's politically correct or not, because the truth of the matter is that if this were any other race of people besides white people, this would be the biggest story in the world right now. But of course, because it is white people, not only do people not care, but they actually will label you an alt-right conspiracy theorist racist or something for simply watching a video like that and being concerned about the safety of the Boers of the white minority in South Africa. But regardless, we are going to talk about this because it absolutely does matter. And I think a big reason they don't want us to pay attention to this or notice this is because, let's be real, it's coming to the Western world sooner or later, this type of rhetoric, this type of attitude, which of course translates into action. So today, I don't care. We are going to talk about it. That video you just saw in the beginning is of the communist left-wing opposition leader in South Africa. So this is a political leader, opposition, sure, but still a political leader nonetheless, chanting very openly in a large crowd of people to, as you heard, shoot and kill the Boer. The Boer are South Africa's white minority. So essentially what they're saying, right, is to shoot and kill white people. Okay? Now, people may say, oh, but Vince, he's the opposition leader, so who cares? Well, my question is, how long is he going to actually remain the opposition leader? Because I think, as you can tell from that video, the guy has packed a soccer stadium of what has to be close to 100,000 people all getting together and chanting to shoot and kill the white minority in South Africa. That is not a small thing, right? You cannot write that off as just some small fringe political leader. That is far larger than any political rallies we get in America, including Trump rallies. So I don't think it's a small thing. I certainly don't think it's something to not be concerned about. I think it is actually pretty safe to say, judging by the size of that crowd and judging by the prominence of this guy, even if he's the opposition leader in that country, this is a pretty mainstream song and movement in the nation of South Africa. And that's why it needs to be talked about. But people may say, but Vince, it's not America, so why are you talking about this? Okay, well, I'll tell you why, for two reasons. First of all, you are right. It's not America. You may write it off as, oh, but that's what happens in the third world. Two problems with that. First of all, America's becoming the third world, so it's kind of hard to say, oh, that's the third world. It won't happen to us. But first of all, the reason I am talking about it is because, like I said earlier, you will not hear a lick of this from anywhere in American media, right? And you certainly won't see, as a racial minority group in that country is pretty openly persecuted and in some cases killed, you will not, you certainly won't hear American media talk about it. You certainly won't have the U.S. government boycotting the regime of South Africa. You will not have the CIA interfering in their elections, trying to stage a coup, trying to justify regime change in that country. You will not see any of this. And you certainly will not hear calls from the Biden administration to take in refugees from South Africa. I really wonder why that is. It certainly couldn't have anything to do with the fact that the skin color of the persecuted minorities there is politically and culturally inconvenient, right? That's reason number one. Reason number two, though, and I think what's arguably more important is that, like I said, if we are not careful, these types of scenes and ultimately the consequences of stuff like that is absolutely coming to the United States, right? Because we see the type of rhetoric pushed against white people in this country now, right? For now, we call it critical race theory. For now, we say it's wokeness, and, we're kind of told that white people are bad, but you don't hear that very explicitly said. But my question is, where's the slippery slope headed? right? Just use your common sense here. If they now are teaching stuff like this that we're about to play here as a reminder, if they're teaching stuff like this to your kids, if they're reading books like, you know, How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram Kendi in the universities and all of that stuff, and we know what's being said pretty openly, it is a slippery slope. You're only about a decade or two away from the chants that you hear in South Africa, frankly, becoming pretty normal and mainstream in America. But just to give you a reminder of what I'm saying here, again, keep in mind, this is from Disney, right? This is the type of stuff being taught to kids here in America.
This country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country. Tilled this land from sea to sea to sea. We were its soldiers, 4 million strong, fighting for America's freedoms, even though we remained America's slaves. Built this country. The descendants of slaves continue to build this. Slaves built this country. And we, the descendants of slaves in America, have earned reparations for their suffering. And continue to earn reparations every moment we spend submerged in the systemic prejudice, racism, and white supremacy that America was founded with and still has not atoned for. Slaves built this country.
So you guys have seen this video. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. I mean, it was a big thing in the conservative circles for quite some time. But of course, doesn't that sound a little bit familiar, folks, right? Because in the same way in South Africa, they say, yeah, apartheid's done, but apartheid still has to do with the inequalities we see today. And still, as you see here, right, they're still kind of making the argument that, oh, most of the white people in South Africa still own the farmland. Therefore, apartheid hasn't really ended. And this is why. Okay, does it all sound familiar? It should sound very familiar to you, because that same type of racial grievance politics has led us to the point that we are now in South Africa. Of course, you were taught in school that Nelson Mandela came along and he ended apartheid, and South Africa has been all, you know, sunshine and rainbows since then. But of course, right, that hasn't been the case. Actually, there's been a pretty bitter divide, not much unlike what you see here in America, right? And this is what has led us to the point we are at. So the main reason, again, I have to talk about this, and I'm doing a video on this, is really to serve as a warning, right? Because decades of this type of hate-filled rhetoric against a certain race of people, be it white people, oh my gosh, it never happens towards white people. No. A certain, a very long time of that type of rhetoric leads us obviously to this place. So of course, I absolutely believe that if America is not careful in the next few decades, America will not look much unlike South Africa. And I don't think that's crazy at all. I think that's an incredibly rationed and reasonable take when you just simply take a look at the things that people in America are saying, and then kind of mirror that. Oh, what were they first saying in South Africa and how it's led to this point? It's very familiar scene, isn't it? Anyways, I do want to address, though, the excuses, because believe it or not, you watch a video like that and would think there's no excuse for that. Everyone should condemn that. But I want to address some of the excuses you've been hearing for this video and this song. So, you know, this guy goes along and says, it has absolutely nothing, the song has absolutely nothing to do with individual Boer people. It was referring to the armed institution of South Africa under apartheid. It is a patriotic chant that used to boost the morale of militants and inspire feelings of national pride and resolve. So when you have 100,000 people in a stadium chanting, shoot and the Boer, they don't really mean it. That's definitely not destructive rhetoric or dangerous rhetoric at all. Of course, don't you know, bro, they're joking. It's irony. It's self-expression. Yeah, sure it is. Yeah, I 1000% buy that argument. Surely a bunch of people chanting a song in a stadium about killing white people will not translate into the killing of white people. Well, it has translated, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but let's keep reading the excuses here. It goes on to say, today it is still sung not with the intention to kill Boers, but to establish continuity with the tradition of patriotic militant struggle. Oh, wait, so it's still sung with the intention is not to kill white people, but the intention, in his own words, is to establish continuity with a tradition of patriotic militant struggle. So So my question there is then who's going to be killed by militant struggle? Who would be the target of militant struggle? If you're openly saying that the target of militant struggle is the Boers, and he himself here is saying that, yes, they're still calling for militant struggle, then how does that add up at all? You're literally saying shoot and kill the Boers, and you're admitting actually it is a militant thing. So obviously you're calling for a militant struggle against the white minority there, okay? But, you know, he goes on to say, which the EFF accuses the ANC, these are parties in South Africa, of betraying by selling out South Africa to international financial and monopoly capital, aka globalists. I don't know. He's trying to make some type of right-wing argument there, I guess, for it. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. There is no excuse for that video. There is no excuse. And especially when you consider the fact that the killings and hate crimes against Boers, against Afrikaners, against the white minority in South Africa has been a real problem. Okay, as you see, it happens. It happens a lot every year. It's not fake. It's not made up. Why would you chant that in a stadium of so many people? Why would you go out there and sing that if your intention was not pretty direct to go out there and want that to happen and encourage that to happen? Okay, I don't buy any of these excuses. They're silly. They're ridiculous. Of course, that is what they are trying to encourage people to do. I don't understand the argument that it's not, okay? But anyways, as we close up the video here, just wanted to point this out. Even Elon Musk has acknowledged this. Of course, he is South African, but he goes out there and says, pretty accurate take. And by the way, let me say this. He was willing to say what a lot of conservative commentators and politicians out there are too scared to say, but it's literally factually true. Okay, they can call it alt-right conspiracy theory. It is factually true. Elon Musk goes out there and says they're openly pushing for the genocide of white people in South Africa. And then he tags this person, why do you say nothing? Well, of course, that is a very good question. Anyways, just you know, after all the controversy, all the worldwide backlash, you would think, especially even Elon Musk going out there and saying it, right? You think that this left-wing opposition leader, maybe he would tone it down a little bit, right? Maybe he would go out there and say, okay, listen, it was misinterpreted. You know, I didn't mean it like that, or maybe I shouldn't say it anymore, but my sentiment, you would think he would say something along those lines. But no, just to give you an idea of how crazy it is over in South Africa, here is that same communist opposition leader pretty openly going out there and saying, he first of all, he calls Elon Musk, as you can see, he calls him an illiterate. Okay, he calls him an illiterate. So Elon Musk, richest person in the world, obviously illiterate. Obviously, this guy probably is more literate than him. That makes perfect sense. Ridiculous. But yeah, here he is basically going out there and doubling down and defending the chant and calling Elon Musk an illiterate. Because I guess that's what's illiterate about it, right? If you, according to them, if you listen to a chant that says shoot and kill white people and you don't think that means shoot and kill white people, or you do think, I should say, if you do think that means shoot and kill white people, that is illiterate. Of course, that's not what we really mean, bro. Okay, anyways, let's take a listen to him here.
I will sing this song as in when I feel like. It's not my song, it's a struggle song. I saw some McG wannabe, one of these podcast people who failed with a very low followers, for sure his relatives only that are following him. He says, I must educate Elon Musk. What is that? No, the one of Twitter.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. I must educate Elon Musk. Why must I educate Elon Musk? He looks like an illiterate. The only thing that protects him is his white skin. Elon Musk wants to learn about this song. The records are there in court. Let him go and read the judgment. Let him go and listen to my arguments in court. I will sing this song.
So, you know, you might watch, just in case you watched that first video and thought to yourself, okay, but it's one thing, maybe it's out of context. Just listen to him. Listen to the hate-filled rhetoric. Listen to the way he talks about Elon Musk's white skin. Look at their freaking logo, okay? It's a communist fist with a spear, and their iconic signature chant is to shoot and kill the white people. And this is not a totally fringe party, right, in South Africa. They're able to draw crowds of like 100,000 people in a stadium all together to get together and chant this stuff. I don't think that should be ignored at all, folks. So, you know, there you have it. right? Just a warning to us here in the West. By the way, I pray for the Boers in South Africa as well. I mean, frankly, if there's anyone I would want to take as refugees, frankly, you know, right? But regardless, I pray they you know, are able to protect themselves and keep their homes and keep their farms. It's a terrible situation. But I don't think it's an isolated situation either, right? That same rhetoric you hear from the EFF in this country, you hear here in the United States too. And you certainly see where it is headed. And you kind of know demographically over the next few decades, all of that stuff. Where are we headed in the United States? I don't think it's radical to say that this is a slippery slope that, you know, we may very well find ourselves on as well. So let that be a warning. Let that be a warning. All of this hateful rhetoric and, you know, attitude against white people, it has to stop. It truly does. Because this is where you're headed. If not, you will become South Africa. America is not many decades off from being South Africa. Just let that be a warning to everyone. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on this whole situation down below. Do you think that the U.S. government should, for once, be morally consistent and intervene here, at the very least boycott or sanction or, you know, do whatever? What do you think about taking in Boer refugees? Do you think this is a real crisis at all? Am I just, you know, am I the one who's just exaggerating this? Let me know down in the comment section below. But until next time, folks, be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Be sure to join the channel membership for exclusive perks and access to our members block. Join us live Monday through Friday at here on this channel for new episodes of The Vince Dao Show. And until next time, folks, Alpha moves only. God bless. Everyone have a very good day and peace.